Here we'll get started. Welcome to Elevator World's webinar series. I am T. Bruce McKinnon, the president of Elevator World and your host for today. Today's webinar is presented by Castrol, and the topic is a new approach to escalator chain lubrication. Castrol brings 40 plus years of chain lubrication expertise to the escalator market. The speaker for today's webinar is Levi Shaw. Levi is the technical manager for elevators and escalators with Castrol and has more than 15 years experience in the elevator escalator maintenance. In this webinar, Levi will talk about existing lubrication practices and how they can be improved with new and innovative technology to extend the life of chains, reduce maintenance time, and increase intervals between chain replacements. During today's presentation, I'd like to encourage you to post your questions in either the question and answer section or the chat box. After the presentation, we'll have a number of people available to answer those questions. So Levi, you may begin with the presentation. Levi, you're on mute.
Thank you, T. Bruce. Thank you to everyone who's joining us this morning to learn more about advancements in escalator chain lubrication. I'd like to take a quick second just to say thank you to Elevator World for hosting this webinar series and allowing Castrol to participate. My name is Levi Shaw, and I'll be doing the presentation today. With me on the phone is Joe Hasty, a national account manager with Castrol. He's got over 10 years of experience with Castrol, extensive lubricant knowledge, and vast industrial sales experience. On the phone with us as well is Mark Anderson, our other national account manager for the vertical transportation segment. He's got over 10 years of experience in the vertical transportation industry, working in account management and service repair operations with elevator OEMs. He's been with Castrol now for about 3 years. A little bit about Castrol Lubecon, who we are and what we do. We are a US-based division of Castrol. We manufacture and ship all of our equipment out of our White Cloud, Michigan facility. And that's where we also house our engineers and our customer service team for the Castrol Lubecon department. We've got 40 plus years of experience in industrial applications, lubricating large chain conveyors, wire rope applications, and manufacturing plants all around the country. We do offer a wide range of fast-acting, high-performance lubricants, everything that you might need from a very light chain oil to a highly specialized greases for a wide range of applications, including one of our greases on the Mars rover. Our systems are specifically designed to store and deliver lubricant directly to the right place and exactly where you need it and when you need it. Castrol Lubecon works in some of the harshest environments, from very hot, such as our metal foundries, powder coating and paint ovens, to very cold, as we see with our food and beverage industry, and all levels of dust, from clean rooms to fiberglass and wallboard factories. Let's talk a little bit about escalators now. We've all seen these types of escalator lubrication systems on our escalators. A lot of us have either removed them, disabled them, not filled them up. Maybe our service guys do and we don't. But there's a lot of reasons why these are not the ideal situation for escalator lubrication. On the very far left, we have the drip oiler system. This system will release lubricant constantly through a valve setting. There's no way to monitor or meter it other than setting that valve to a specific location. Problems with this type of lubrication are you generally will see over lubrication. It's very messy. The lubricant isn't targeted to the wear points. The lubricant is kind of dripped all over the chain. It's very wasteful. You end up with puddles of oil sometimes in your pit, and your clean downs end up taking a lot longer because of it. Next thing we see a lot of are brush applicators. These brush applicators are fairly common, and we see them in a lot of escalators around. They are definitely more advanced than the drip application system, as a lot of them will have a timer and a valve built in, so that it's only lubricating when needed. They can store a little bit more lubricant than a drip applicator, so there's a longer interval between fill-ups on this type of application. Some of the big problems with these is that they're still very wasteful. They're not intelligent enough to know whether the escalator is running or not. They're not intelligent enough to know how long the escalator's been running and whether it's time for a lubrication cycle. The timer clicks on, it dumps the lube, whether your escalator is running or not. And this is what happens. A lot of times with this, you end up with the puddles in the pit, just like you do with a drip application system, and very likely over lubrication of your chains. And we'll get a little bit more into why over lubrication of your chains is a bad thing later on in the presentation. The garden sprayer is the manual application type. And with the manual application, it's very imprecise. One of the major drawbacks of manual application using a garden sprayer or a tool such as the one pictured above is that it requires field labor intervention in order to get it done. As we all know, one of the most expensive parts of escalator maintenance is the field labor. And the longer these guys are standing around, guys and girls are standing around lubricating escalator chains, the more money it's costing you as a service provider to have that done. We have a system that can take care of that for you. There's also the additional safety hazard associated with the manual application. In the rare instance that this wand might get sucked up into your escalator, get caught on a step or in the chain, it could cause severe damage to your escalator or potentially harm to your mechanic. Lubrication and chain wear. Dirty chains are the enemy of chain life. When you have an over lubricated or dirty chain, the addition of materials from the environment will cause what is known as a lapping effect. The lapping effect is the mixing of debris from the environment along with oil to form a slurry type substance. And this substance actually ends up working like a liquid cutting tool in between your chain wear points, accelerating the wear of your chain and reducing your chain life. By applying a fast penetrating non-detergent lubricant with a solvent carrier, you can help to greatly reduce these effects on your chain. This type of lubricant helps to displace any solids from the environment while adding lubricating solids and liquids to the points that need it most. By using something with a fast acting solvent carrier that evaporates into the atmosphere, you're also going to reduce the effects or the chances of buildup of dust and debris on the outside of your chains, thereby reducing the lapping effect on your chains. Using something that's fast, gets to the wear points, and gets the job done is really what you need. And the solvent carrier will also help to wash away those particles. If you see on the bottom left corner of your screen, there's a double chain there from a Mod B escalator. It's got 8 little yellow dots on it. Those 8 little yellow dots each represent a wear point on a chain. You can see that the gap, the clearance between the side plates and the side plate and the roller is very small. Any amount of dirt or debris can prevent lubricant from penetrating those areas and protecting your chain. That's why it's absolutely important to keep your chain clean, looking good, and prevent oil buildup on the outside of your chains. And that's where we come in. We offer the Castrol Chain Defender Lubrication System. This system was adapted from our larger industrial systems, but has the same internal workings in a much smaller package. This 5-liter system is designed to fit in most escalator and moving walkway pits to give you the same reliable lubrication that we've used in factories for over 40 years. We use a shot-to-point technology. What the shot-to-point technology does is applies lubricant to the chain wear points and nowhere else. We shoot the lubricant directly to those wear points, those 8 little yellow dots we saw on the last slide, and we don't shoot it anywhere else. So you end up with a nice clean chain, protected wear points, and a well-lubricated system. Our Castrol Chain Defender system can report to a central monitoring system using a PLC interface where we can deliver dry contacts, either normally open or normally closed, depending on what's needed by your system, to tell you the status of the chain defender. This includes things such as low lube level, whether it's powered up and working, if the pump's running, if there's a fault, those can be selected and sent directly to your system. We can do up to 4 channels with the chain defender system. Each channel can independently be programmed to lubricate a specific set of chains. Step chains, handrail drive chains, main drive chains all need different lubrication. Sometimes it needs to be more frequently, sometimes less frequently, depending on the setup that you have. And with the Castrol Chain Defender, you can program it so each independent channel, each independent chain is getting the right amount of lubricant when you want it to be there and when it's needed the most. It's very easy to set up with a user interface built right into the front of the box with an easy touchpad, and the installation is simple as well. Although with the Chain Defender, you'll be lubricating your chains much more frequently than you would by hand if you're lubricating your chains monthly or quarterly by hand right now, the Castrol Chain Defender can apply lubricant up to several times per day. Generally for escalators, we recommend about once a week or twice a week, depending on the usage of the escalator in its normal environment. Although you'll be lubricating your chain much more frequently than normal, you're going to be using less lube than you normally do. Each shot that comes out onto your chain is between only 2 thousandths and 5 thousandths of an ounce per shot. So you're going to have a better lubricated chain using less lubricant and lubricating it more often with the Castrol Chain Defender system. I'll talk a little bit about the installation of it. Just typical installations last between 4 and 8 hours. They're very easy for the experienced mechanic. Everything that you need to do the installation is included in the package that we ship to you. The only thing that your mechanic is going to need are the boxes that we ship, along with the tools on their truck to get the installation complete. There's no specialty tools, no specialty parts. There's not going to be any need for them to run to Home Depot or their store of choice to pick up additional spare parts as needed. When you're looking at the installation, a typical 4-hour installation might be what a lot of our customers choose to do is the step chains only. You get our system installed, get the tubing run, get the lubricant lines over there and primed up, about 4 hours to do all that. A lot of customers will also choose to do all sets of chains, and when you're doing all 3 sets of chains, that might take a little bit longer. That's when you're looking at that 8-hour time period, or if you have a difficult installation, such as something like a Mod B escalator, where you have to remove steps to get to the drive, and the handrail chain is located in a very difficult to reach location. In order to assist with installations, we have dedicated account managers across the country. There's about 26 of us around the country who are here to help you with your installations. We'll come out on site and help you with your first couple of installations to ensure that you understand our system and the way it works and understand how much you need to lubricate your chains. Our account managers are very knowledgeable in this subject and will help you determine the correct frequency for lubricating your chains. In addition to that, we do offer a lot of digital training materials. Everything that you need to learn how to and install the system is available online and easily accessed from your mechanic's smartphone or tablet. These things include installation manuals, digital training materials, including step-by-step videos, which are put together by chapter. So if there's a specific portion of the installation that your mechanic needs help with, they can jump straight to that section of the digital training materials rather than watching the whole video. We also offer a comprehensive list of components and our component guides. The big reason that this is important for these installations is sometimes customers will choose to start with step chains, see how good it looks, and decide that they want to do their main drive chains and handrail chains as well. With the component guide, you can identify those needed components and speak with your account manager about ordering them. Your dedicated account manager as well will go through your order, talk about what you need, and make sure that everything you need is included in your next order. Chain oil characteristics. A good chain oil system is only as good as the lubricant that you're using with it. Some of the things that you want to look out for when you're choosing a chain oil or a chain lubricant for your escalators is you want something with a very low viscosity. You want it to be able to reach the internal surfaces very quickly and evaporate, leaving behind the penetrating solids and liquids that actually form the protective body of your lubricant. You want the lubricant also to be heavy enough to maintain that lubricating film under bearing pressures. With escalators and moving walkways, we have all kinds of varying loading, whether it's in an airport, in a whole terminal, 4 or 5 gates let out at the same time, and the escalators and moving walkways are full all the way through to the middle of the night when there's no one running them. Your lubricant needs to be able to handle all those situations. And of course, you don't want any corrosive ingredients in your lubricant. You don't want your lubricant working against you at the same time. And you want your lubricant to be able to hold up in different temperatures, moistures, loading capacities, etc. You need something that's thin enough to penetrate quickly and robust enough to maintain its qualities in varying situations. And that's where the Castrol 1MO dry film lubricant comes into play. Down at the bottom left corner of your screen, you'll see a little silver tube with 2 black lines and an escalator chain moving around. This escalator is actually running at full speed right now. We do have the slow motion video to exaggerate the point so you can see those little lube shots right underneath the black lines coming out. They hit the chain right on the wear points, exactly where it's needed. And you can see the very small amount of lubricant that's going on there. And that's exactly how you want your chains to be lubricated. A small amount of lubricant more frequently and exactly where it needs to be. Our 1MO lubricant has a viscosity similar to water at 3 centistokes. It's a very thin lubricant, easily penetrating into those wear points. Our carrier solvent will evaporate very quickly after applied to the chain, which leaves no mess behind, eliminates or greatly reduces the risk of the lapping effect on your chains, and will eliminate buildup of dust and debris on your chains over the long term. We do have a proprietary solvent-based carrier that's very low odor, and this makes it ideal for situations indoors, such as shopping malls, arenas, airports, and those kind of things. It's, this is called our odorless brand, but in reality, it's a very low odor. It can't be detected outside of the pit. You would essentially have to stick your nose up to the barrel to get a smell of it. So it works very well in situations where you don't want any odor. Early on in this endeavor with vertical transportation, Castrol joined forces with a major transit authority on the East Coast for a trial. We approached them with our system, talked a little bit about what it does and how it does it, and they agreed to an 11-month trial period on one of their most problematic escalators. Chain length for this escalator is about 400 feet, and their chain life expectancy at the time was only 2 years. Over that 11-month period, we measured 5/16 inch of chain stretch at the bottom take-ups. And because of that 5/16 inch measurement, the customer has a new chain life expectancy of around 10 years, saving the customer about $200,000 over that 10-year period. In a conversation with them, they noted the performance improvement, the targeted lubrication, the escalator had reduced downtime, and their mechanics didn't need to be there to intervene. What you see in the picture on this case study trial page is our 6-gallon system. It's the Castrol Chain Defender, but it is a 6-gallon system rather than a 5-liter. And this is a good system if you have the space for it. It stores significantly more lubricant, meaning less frequent lubricant fills from your mechanics, and you know that it's going to be working for a long period of time. These are also ideal for situations where you have a machine room for your escalator and you have the space to put something that can hold more lubricant. In the end, the customer decided to expand its partnership with Castrol, and we've installed hundreds of systems in their escalator portfolio over the last couple of years. As a service provider, what's in it for you? Where does the value lie? One major thing that struck me when I came from working for the OEMs into working for Castrol is the opportunity to use the Castrol Chain Defender system as an escalator upgrade revenue opportunity. We do see a lot of revenue coming from our escalator portfolios in the way of damage caused by customers or riders, things that happen in the environment, such as flooding. But very rarely is there a really good upgrade opportunity for escalators, and this is one of them. It's going to help your customers with increased uptime of their escalators. Their lubrication is going to be done, meaning their escalator is going to last a lot longer, and it doesn't require any intervention. If there's nobody around for a period of time, such as what we've seen recently with the pandemic, your escalator chains are still going to get lubricated during that time period as long as your escalators are powered on. You have equipment in service time increases, fewer callbacks for your mechanics. Your mechanics aren't going to be called out to do things like adjust chains as frequently as they were before. There's not going to be the noise caused by loose chains or the mess caused by over lubrication. You save a lot on mechanic labor. If you're lubricating once a month and your mechanic spends 20 or 30 minutes per month lubricating those chains, that's the extra half hour that your mechanic can get back to do other maintenance tasks that are going to keep your escalators running smoothly. And of course, when we're seeing between 2 and 4 times chain life extension, you're going to save a lot on chain costs. The replacement cost of a single escalator chain can range very significantly from a few $1,000s up to tens of thousands of dollars. And by extending that chain life by 2 to 4 times, your maintenance service is going to see a significant benefit. In many cases, we have projected ROIs of between 300 and 500% over the life of your escalator chain. Thank you all for taking the time today to talk a little bit about escalator chain lubrication and the changing technology that Castrol has to offer. One thing I'd like to point out really quickly is this year in 2020, Castrol was awarded the Ellie for the best supplier in the other category from Elevator World magazine. We're very proud of this accomplishment, and we're very thankful for our customers who made this happen for us. If anyone would like more information about the Castrol Chain Defender system, you can reach us with the information on the screen there. My email address is on there. You can reach out directly. The 800 number is for our customer care center in White Cloud, Michigan, where you'll get a real person. And you can visit our website to see exactly how the Chain Defender system works. Thank you all for your time today, and we would like to move on to questions.
Great job, Levi. Really informative and interesting presentation. Looks like we've got quite a bit of interesting questions. So I know we've got some others on the line there. Do they want to just jump in and take some of those questions, Kurt or Joe or whoever's best suited?
Yeah, let me get into that Q&A.
Sure, I can. Let me help you out here. Sorry about that. Looks like we've got some here. Let me read some of those off. So first one we've got is how does the chain defender ensure that the chains are not over lubricated or under lubricated? Should we set the dispensing volume limit based on some formula?
There's really not a specific formula that we use for it. To ensure that the chains are not over lubricated or under lubricated, it's going to take a little bit of intervention at the beginning. You'll want to set it up, let it run for a period of time, maybe check it after 2 weeks or at your next visit, your next monthly maintenance visit, and ensure that the chains are looking good. Like I said in the presentation, the one good thing that we have is our account managers around the country who can help you determine the correct lubricating frequencies. We've done several hundred of these around the country just in the last couple of years and have learned a lot about that. So using your account manager, explaining to them the conditions that your escalator is running in, the environment that you're using, and how often that escalator gets used. If it's in a busy airport, it might need more lubrication, say, than it is in a mall that's not visited as frequently. So definitely reaching out to your account manager for help with that is the best scenario.
All right, looks good. Yeah, looks like I guess depending on the the situation, not really a set formula, just determined based on how often it's being used and things such as that.
Yeah, exactly. We take all those things into consideration: the passenger loading, the environment that it operates in, and we come up with a lubrication cycle that's right for you. We have plenty of data and information showing us kind of what's right and what's wrong, how often, how much is too much and how much is too little for your chains.
All right, very good. Let's move on to another question here. Looks like a question from Matthew Pike. Is cleaning the existing lube off the chain needed before changing to this new system?
Mark, would you like to help out with that one?
Sure thing. Hey, Matt, glad you were able to make it. Good question. Cleaning the existing chain is not required. As Levi mentioned on the presentation, our lubricant is a solvent-based lubricant. So while it lubricates the chain, it will wash off a lot of that heavy-duty grease and existing chain oil and dirt and debris that is on your chain. If you want to clean the chain prior to installing our system, just to kind of prevent a little bit of cleanup on the back end from washing that existing chain oil and grease off, it's up to you, but it's not a requirement.
Very good, very good. So somebody could purchase this and put it right into an existing setup and no real scrubbing or anything. Just put it right on and start seeing the good results. So It's nice, nice.
Absolutely.
So moving on, Wes Conklin has a question here. What are the dimensions of the control unit or the oil tank? And then can one control unit be used for all sprayers on a single escalator?
Yeah, thank you for the question. That's a very good question. The system itself is about 13 by 9 inches, and front to back, it's about 6 inches. So it's a fairly small system and should fit into most spaces. One control unit can absolutely be used for all the chains on your escalator. What we recommend generally is no more than 2 lube points per channel. So you have 4 channels, that's up to 8 lube points per escalator, meaning you can do really 8 sets of chains. And something like the Mod B drive chain that we saw earlier in the presentation, that particular chain might require 2 lube points. We have a 5.5-inch limit per lubrication point. So you can add 2 to that channel with a single valve and they'll fire off at the same time. Same thing with your step chains. Each step chain, the 2 step chains combined only require 1 channel to operate, and they fire off of the same valve and they use the same, and they get lubricated at the same frequency. So absolutely, you can use one system for your full escalator, all the chains on your escalator. You don't need more than one. And the full dimensions, the exact dimensions of our system can be located on our website as well. If you needed it in a CAD drawing or something along those lines, or we can also send that to you. Just reach out.
Okay, good, good. It looks like that answers Alan's question as well. He was asking if there was a case where you might need 2 devices installed, but doesn't look like that's needed.
I can speak to that one a little bit, actually, because there's a couple of things on here. There's the rise and the length of your moving walkway do not change the need really for additional systems. We did a system in an airport here in Southern California recently with I think it was the longest escalator west of the Rockies or moving walkway west of the Rockies when it was first installed. Can't remember the length of it, but it is you can't really see the end from one side you're standing on, and that was done with one 12-gallon system. In some cases, you might need 2 devices, but it's in very, very rare instances. We're working with one of the major OEMs right now to get some systems integrated into their existing platforms, and they have heavy-duty escalators built for transit and that kind of stuff that do have a separate set of chains at the bottom that run the separate motor and separate set of chains near the bottom that run the handrails. And in that situation, we are recommending a 5-liter down at the bottom and then a bigger 12-gallon system up at the top in order to get to all of those chains and provide the right lubrication for them. But that's a very rare instance for anything that we really see out in the world right now. One system should be enough.
Okay. Very good. Thank you, Levi. Moving on to some more questions. We've got a question here on reducing, is it possible to reduce the frequency of maintenance with this mechanism? And by how much can you decrease preventative maintenance visits in a year?
Castrol in itself is not in the business of escalator maintenance and determining the amount of maintenance your escalator needs. As a previous service operations manager in the elevator industry, the big thing I would say this, the big advantage this provides to you and to your mechanics and customers is that the lubrication will be done automatically. So you want to keep your same, I would say you want to keep your same maintenance frequency, but spend your time doing other important maintenance tasks, such as ensuring that the safety switches work properly, inspecting the balustrades and inspecting the comb teeth and doing those kind of things that are necessary for the escalator to operate safely and efficiently. And they can really spend all of their time working on those items rather than spending the majority of their allocated maintenance visit time on just lubricating the chains. That's my personal opinion from my experience, but it is really up to the companies to determine the maintenance frequencies they need. And I don't know that Castrol is in the business of that. So that's my response.
In regards to, the maintenance visits, what's involved with, evaluating the proper functioning of the chain defender? I mean, is there's some process there when they're on their maintenance just to make sure that it's doing its proper scheduling?
Yeah, absolutely. When you log into the system on the keypad, you can look through the system and see how many times it's lubricated since your last visit. It's fairly easy to access, and that'll tell you, roughly whether it's been lubricating at the right frequency or not. From the Castrol chain defender system, you can initiate a lubrication cycle just by pushing 0 and then the channel, and that'll start the lubrication cycle. And from there, you can just verify that the lube tubes are hitting the points that you want them to hit. The only other thing you'll need to do in this situation is check the oil level on your system. We've had these systems installed in some factories in very harsh conditions for 15 or 20 years, and they're still operating. We do offer a 1-year warranty with our system, but they are very robust. And really all you need to do is make sure there's lube in it. And as long as there's lubricant inside your tank, you'll be good to go. It's a quick 10-minute visit just to check everything that's going on. I'd really say you only need to do that quarterly or maybe twice a year, depending on the size system and the length of your escalator.
Okay, very good. Moving on to another question here from Jamie asking about does Castrol IMO Film Lubricant, does it have a binder to form this film? And then what is the solid lubricant?
The solid lubricant is molybdenum disulfide. That's very common. It impregnates itself basically and sticks to the metal surfaces rather than flaking off like we see with some of the others, such as graphite. There is a binder in the Castrol 1MO film lubricant that delivers directly to it, to the chain wear points, and keeps that lubricant in place. It is a proprietary formula, so I can't really talk more about it, but it is there, and the solid lubricant is molybdenum disulfide.
All right, very good, very good. Another question from Alan on how many lubrication points are they equal to the number of hoses, and can they be connected to one chain defender device? I think you might have answered some of that, but
yeah, it's 4 unique lubrication points. We recommend two lube tubes or 2 lubrication points per channel at the most. So you're looking at about 8 lubrication points per Castrol chain defender system on 4 separate chains.
all right. Moving on, we've got a question from Sheldon about you showed 5/16 stretch. According to the code, it needs to be replaced with a gap exceeding a quarter. So it would still need to be replaced.
The 5/16 stretch is distributed all along that 400-foot chain. There's plenty of take up, and then the code allows for a 5/16 stretch over 400 feet of chain. So it does not need to be replaced. It did not need to be replaced at that time. There's no step gap of a 1/4 inch. If you take that 5/16 inch and stretch it out over 400 feet, the number of steps on there, the step gap was significantly smaller than that 1/4 inch required by code.
Okay. Looks like we've got some folks wanting some samples here.
Yeah, absolutely. Our lubricant is great. It can be used, around your house, garage doors, cabinets, your interior doors, fishing reels, really anything that takes a lubricant. You can absolutely get a sample. Just shoot me an email, my email address there, and I will, with your address, and I will send them out to you.
Awesome. Looks like a couple of people are asking about the availability of this product in other parts of the world, Canada, Europe. Can you talk a little bit about that, Levi?
Yeah, we currently do offer the system in North America. So Canada, Mexico, and the United States all have access to the chain defender system right now. We haven't brought it globally. We do have partners around the world that might be able to assist you in getting some imported. For the time being, we're focusing on our efforts on North America, and we have the marketing and supply chain channels in place to deliver them and support them in all of North America.
All right. And what about Looks like someone's asking about can this be used? Yeah, can the lubrication system be used on hoist ropes, or has that been done?
It absolutely has been done. We've seen some success with hoist ropes in the past. We do have our system installed in one of the tallest buildings in Detroit right now. It's been there for about 4 years, and we've seen very good results with it. We're currently doing some testing and certification of the system for hoist ropes from our end to ensure that it meets all the quality requirements and code requirements. But we have had some installations on hoist ropes, and they've been performing very, very well in those situations using our Castrol 1MO lubricant.
Okay. Interesting question here from Mike Alcott. What testing has been done to confirm that the solvent carrier for your product doesn't damage plastic parts that are incorporated in some chain products?
We actually went through a testing process with our partner on the East Coast where we took a sample of things like guide rollers and chain parts, and we soaked them in oil for a period of time. It was over the course of 60 and 90 days, and saw that there was no damage to them. There was no reduction in the size, no reduction in the density, no breakdown. They were still well seated to the hubs that they were attached to. We did that testing went on for about a year when we were when we first started partnering with that company on the East Coast. So we have done that testing, as well as these guys, our partners on the East Coast, have had the systems installed for 4 years or more, and their escalators are running very well. If there's any concern about the particular system that you're using or the particular product that you're using, we do have a lab that can help us to test and determine the compatibility with our lubricant. Like I said, we have done extensive testing with our partner, but if there is concerns from you, we can utilize our lab for that testing as well.
Okay, very good. Few more questions here. Looks like asking about how often does the reservoir need to be refilled?
The reservoir needs to be filled generally quarterly, and if not, 6 months to a year, depending on, it really depends on the size of your escalator, the length, the number of steps, the environment that you're operating in, which determines the lube frequency. But we've seen quarterly at the lowest, and we've seen annually at the highest with our systems. So it really depends, but quarterly is a good bet for most escalators or moving walkways.
And staying on that topic of the oil and the use of the oil, what is the estimated cost of the lubrication for one escalator? I know that could probably range, based on the sizes and all, but what kind of idea can you give us on that?
I can say that the lubricant costs for annually for an escalator or moving walkway are right around $200 in lubricant, and that provides all the lubricant you need for a full year. Really to do all 3 sets of your chains on a standard escalator or moving walkway.
All right. What about and we're wrapping it up here, getting close, a few more questions. What about the overall cost of the chain defender? What does this system cost to purchase, install, and all that?
Well, if you'd like to know more about the cost of the system, you can reach out to myself, and I can help you determine what's needed for your particular escalator or moving walkway, and we can get you a quote out. Mark Anderson and Joe Hasty as well are our national account managers, and they'd be happy to talk to you about the needs for your particular escalator or moving walkway, and what we can do to help you get the system installed.
Okay. Fantastic, guys. A lot of questions. Mark, it looks like you've covered a lot of the questions in the chat. Is there anything else anybody wants to contribute before we wrap up?
No, if we didn't get to your questions, feel free to shoot Levi an email or Joe or myself, and we'd be happy to answer any questions offline.
Perfect, guys. Thank you very much, Levi. This was really an excellent and informative presentation. about escalator chain lubrication and the chain defender. Appreciate everybody's input. We'll be emailing everyone that attended information, the whole presentation, obviously contact for Levi and others. We really appreciate your attendance. And of course, you can go to the website, castrol.com/escalator for more information. And appreciate everybody for attending. Hope everybody has a good afternoon.
Thank you, everyone, for attending.
Thank you so much.
Thank y'all.
Yep. Terrific, guys. Thanks.